Welcome back, everyone. Our next session is a panel discussion on Fintechs paving the way to the future. Now, Fintech companies are shaking up the financial service markets with the way in which they operate and challenging traditional products and services that are currently on offer. With cutting-edge digitalization and the integration of smart devices becoming the norm, the fintech industry is witnessing a period of rapid growth that has paved the way for a host of innovative financial solutions. Now, in this panel today, we are joined by Shweta Shetty, Director at Deloitte Touche Tomatsu India LLP, who will also be moderating this panel. Welcome to the panel, Shweta, and it is good to have you with us here today. Joining Shweta on the panel is Mr. Srinivas Jain, is the Executive Director and Chief of Strategy, Digital and Technology at SBI Funds Manager. Welcome to the panel, Mr. Srinivas. And we are also joined by Mr. Loney Antony, Vice Chairman at Hitachi Payment Services Private Limited, PRISM. It is great to have you on this panel, Loney. And finally, completing the panel is Mr. Shashidhar Bhat, COO at Finserv Markets. Welcome to the panel, Mr. Shashidhar. And now, without any further ado, I would like to hand over the panel to Shweta to take this forward. And over to you, Shweta.
Thank you, Amit, and thank you to our eminent panel joining me today on the topic that I truly believe will change the face of the Indian financial services sector in ways larger than that we have envisaged. The Fintech ecosystem has been one of the fastest emerging areas in banking and financial services. It has helped bolster the experience of customers, making it more intuitive, personalized, and empowering. Armed with new data and analytics, asset-light platforms, and almost zero processing costs, fintechs are complementing the traditional banking and financial services institutions globally. India remains one of the largest markets where structural enablers incubate exponentially leverage fintechs that come together strongly. First, India is estimated to have the world's largest fresh bank of almost 250 to 300 million young adults who will enter mainstream over the next 3 to 5 years. The way this segment is going to demand and consume financial services is going to be very, very different. The number of credit users are estimated to be as high as 65% of Indian households. The potential for open banking and fintech-led disruption is huge. Second, the data dividend of the Indian economy is going to achieve a critical mass. We have both private and government initiatives across digital financial access, across mobile penetration, the implementation, and other digital efforts over the next few years. It will make it easy for fintechs to create digital economic profiles of individuals. Given these opportunities, fintechs need to be on the path of continued acceleration partnerships with financial institutions, which can offer benefits of capital, distribution access, and compliance. India, for that matter, has already taken steps in the right direction by partially standardizing and opening certain financial services, be it the UPI, the account aggregator, India Stack, and with a fintech ecosystem which is known globally, we're likely to access the creation of reimagined products and services and very, very different ways of delivering financial services in the near future. I strongly believe that fintechs with a strong B2B2C ecosystem will emerge strong. So in summary, with our data division and demographic advantage, there is no question that fintechs and financial services players, and definitely for customers to get a better deal for their money. With this, I would like to invite our first panelist, Mr. Jain, provide his opening remarks on the topic. So maybe I think in the interest of time, can we get started and can we have Mr. Jain to provide his opening remarks on the topic?
Okay, at least I can hear you clearly, so I'm happy to pitch in. So anyway, Shweta, I kind of missed a little bit of what you said, and I'm guessing you gave a lot of introduction around what's happening in fintech and how the new fintech revolution that's going on in India. Let me give you a little bit of our perspective.
Your voice is coming very clearly, Jain.
Oh, okay, great. Excellent. So, basically, these are really exciting time for the fintech industry. In fact, it's been over a decade now that fintech innovation has been coming of age in India. Uh, in the first 10 years have been, first 5 years have been phenomenal with a lot of innovation that came around, people trying to solve for some of the fintech challenges. But it just actually between 2015 and 2000, I would say 20, you saw huge growth in this industry. The last number I know is about 2,200 fintech companies, which is a huge number. I think it should be the next only to US markets when it look at the size of the markets. Basically, most of the fintechs in India are trying to solve for multiple challenges, but there are four key challenges that we are trying to see. The first level of challenges came from the form of identity in the form of Aadhaar-based presence-less authentication. So if you see, a whole lot of first wave of companies were around that. The second wave of company were getting people to open bank accounts or finance accounts, largely for using paperless KYCs and other features. Then the biggest thing that's happened in the fintech today is the building of platform on moving money, which is basically your UPI, BBPS, towards something like a cashless economy. And then finally, what we today see is this new platform called account aggregator platform, which is coming on, which will allow fintechs and banks to work on things like wealth tech, insurance tech, lending, and others through platforms similar to UPI, GSTN, and then leveraging of the digital locker that the government has built. So basically, the framework of these over time has kind of led to this fintech revolution. So majority of all the fintech and the future of fintech will come around these 4 or 5 large structural themes that we are looking at. I'm happy to talk more about it, but I thought since we've lost already some time, I'll yield some of my time to my panelists.
No, very, very interesting. So structural changes will drive innovation. Thank you, Mr. Jain. If I move on to Mr. Antony, can I invite you to provide your opening remarks, please?
Yeah, I echo the points mentioned by Srinivas. I think what we are seeing in India is a little bit different from what we are seeing both in the US and maybe some of the, I would say, China kind of market. In India, what has happened is we have gone through a very inclusive approach of getting more and more people into the banking system, right? So, whereas if you look at just the point I wanted to make there is, let's say US has got 340 million people as a population, only 200 million people are having bank accounts, whereas in India, we of 120 crores, almost 90 crore people have already got bank accounts. And we are aiming for getting everybody onto. So structurally what has happened is India has a very inclusive approach, and that is driving in the UPI as a backbone is also because it's linked to the bank accounts. Whereas many of the fintechs in US and the markets have thrived because they went and digitized or made banking easier for people who don't have bank accounts. So I think that's kind of a slight difference I would mention. Otherwise, I think, like I said, it's very exciting times and there's a lot of happening. And also I feel that it is there is a kind of convergence where payment and fintech companies over a period of time are migrating more into the technology kind of a big tech, as they call it, the big tech area. And it is going more towards that, whether it's AI-led or IoT-based, etc. So I think the convergence moving from fintech in tech.
The last part was bad.
Yeah, that's what I say as introduction.
Right. No, I think great point. The data dividend of the Indian economy is really going to create the critical mass. I think. If I move over to you, Mr. Bhat.
Sure. I think we are run out of our luck with the network. Let me. Are you able to hear me? I think it's not starting back again.
I'm not.
Yeah.
We can hear you, but echo and static after that is very bad.
Let me, in the spirit of enabling the discussion, let me try and speak slowly and keep it going. So I think in the context, I'll try to bring in a different color. I agree with the thoughts of Mr. Srinivas, Mr. Antony. But as from being within the fintech kind of ecosystem, bringing my perspective to the table, we see the industry kind of split into people who are providing the plumbing. So these are companies trying to solve, point solutions, right? Like trying to read the bank statement or trying to find information available into something meaningful that a lender or an insurer can use effectively. And this combination of both public goods and things that are being created by startups. I think in the public goods, to the India stack, what work that the organization in India has been doing in terms of open credit enablement or the account aggregator kind of plumbing that is in place. And obviously, that is just a building block. We need fintechs to kind of take that to a form and shape that other players they can use. Then there are fintechs who are kind of playing the role of principals, right? They're taking on NBFC license or an insurance license and coming out with a disruptive product or way of doing things. And I think that is one way the landscape is. And the third is where my company plays. That is an aggregator or kind of platform that brings together all the financial solutions for a consumer. So I see the ecosystem divided into these three kind of buckets. The people who provide the plumbing, who put in their skin in the game in terms of creating a new product itself. And third is players who are aggregators who bring together a platform where consumers aggregate and they get a one-stop place to compare, select, and purchase. I think the network is back up again. So I think all three are exciting spaces that we see in the ecosystem. And the impact of COVID is felt just further worsened, made it even more challenging the key metrics, customer cost of acquisition and retention metrics. So I think the big focus when COVID hit the fintech ecosystem was around preserving capital, and kind of controlling the customer acquisition. You didn't want to lend in like where you didn't know where money was headed. The second aspect around retention, where what the challenges come around, especially financial services space, have more experience, where you're not gaming or entertainment or shopping solution, right? Where while working from home, people are spending enormous time watching cricket games and streaming movies. So you kind of for financial services kind of solution, how do you get consumers to come back again? So I think it's an interesting approach is taking place. I think it has made us more disciplined and more innovative to solve these challenges.
No, thank you so much for that. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Or is
I think
okay.
Abbreviated version of the panel discussion.
All right. Yeah, so if I move on to Mr. Jain, my first question to you. What is the first phase of digital disruption in India has been driven by payments and retail financial services in general. What fintech innovations are you likely to see in the areas of wealth management, transaction banking, insurtech?
Yeah, thank you, Shweta. I think I got your question. Yes, I think most of the initial innovation in the Indian fintech platforms have been in the payments and the lending space because so big money has kind of attracted that side of business. What we are now seeing is a significant growth in the so-called personal finance and wealth tech space. In fact, as of now, we have over 500 plus companies, which makes the biggest chunk of the total fintech space, which are in this segment. If you add insurance tech of another 100 plus companies, this makes it one of the largest sector in terms of number of companies in fintech. So obviously, the banking and insurance side of it, or the wealth management side of it, is something which we see growing significantly in coming days. Some of the reasons for this to actually happen is you have seen a significant change in financialization of savings. I think it's going to be very tough for people to follow me, but anyway, I will continue. So we see a significant change in financialization of saving leading to this growth. We've also seen demonetization bringing more digital adoption around this space. Low interest rate regimes in the current market has kind of driven the personal finance wealth tech space to become more popular. The buoyancy, the capital market has kind of also helped this space to actually become more popular among fintechs. And more important, this is a young population in India. The digital adoption being significantly higher, the space of personal finance wealth tech is actually going up significantly. Some of the key for things like robo-advisory, which is a very fun segment. There are some thematic investment platforms that have come up. You have a discount brokerage model, which is the biggest segment here. Like you have the likes of Zerodha. You also have the existing payment and e-commerce company offering investment solution as either a step-down subsidiary or a separately licensed entities working towards something called goal-based investment solutions. Even in insurance, there has been a significant amount of new technology on preventive insurance model, the embedded insurance or sachet insurance. These are some of the very interesting, trends that we see in insurance tech. And I think there is a lot of legs for this particular segment, savings tech, wealth tech, and insurance tech. In fact, I believe with the opening up of account aggregator platform and becoming as data becomes easy and becomes seamless for people to use with the right consent architecture in place, this industry should see, at least this segment should see a significant investment, and there'll be more number of innovations and more players coming to the segment. I don't know how much of that you got.
No, I think great points. I personally believe that mass wealth and personal finance is really going to change the way it was offered now versus what it's going to be offered in times to come. So if I move on to Mr. Antony, given the RBI's plan to create the new umbrella entity to develop and push technology for digital payments, what kind of opportunities do you foresee for fintech players? I'm not sure if you got my question, but this was, what are your views on the new umbrella entity?
Mr. Antony, I think you're on mute.
Mr. Antony, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I was on. The new umbrella entity, let's look at a background as what is need for it and the AI kind of initiative. It was one of the vision documents that the person in there should be able to do digital transaction, right? In simple manner. At the same time, if you look at where India is again take of internet markets, we have some like China, which actually created a lot of government control, but at the same time, it facilitated digital payments in a. So if you look, there is only one central entity there, or a payment China Union. But US had like a market an approach, works to facilitate, uh, free market focus to win pricing, etc. As when it comes to India, the middle part, whenever there is a major customer issue or experience with things, related kind of thing. And what we are seeing is even the government involved in many matters. Sometimes kind of disrupt. Point trying is that with this kind of, when you look at it, umbrella is driven extend to kind of a competition to NPC, right? The contradiction goes starts from NPC by by design created not for profit. Whereas new will be all opportunities. Right? You have got entities, banks, all form, and also it is coming of a run for a life of a new entity like many people try to do for banks or small finance. For example, banks is a great example. The reason I'm that analogy is you had application banks, I think 30, 40, only 9 of them are put, only 4, I think 5 of them will survive. The business models are not stacked. Similarly, in new umbrella entity, what I am concerned about is that the real business model in or standardized that can offer like as what the point is those etc. It is difficult for to come in kind of uh, parallel only commercially driven. What makes difference is you will come with strong enough has got one or two key products which will differentiate game changer. For example, UPI changer. What is the entity for how people will themselves? So all the opinion, all the are likely apply reliant rather than doing by commercial model to create a to would look at what is the key differentiating in that will make that new big thing for payments and scale payments, and of course offering standardized interoperable platform. So I expect that some of the large technology could be partnering with local entrepreneurs, large banks, and also some of the large retail companies in India to kind of create these new umbrella entities. Personally, I feel that not space for more than 3 or 2 or people. Like any other, like some of the it is like a lot of people apply for the entity, but I don't expect space or place for maybe 2 more which can then provide standardized, interoperable, real-time system which to touch upon a person in the. That's my view.
Sure. No, I think the robustness of the business model will be critical in determining how this pans out. I think very interesting thought.
And also
Moving on.
the fact that how for-profit compete with a non-for-profit company. It will be very difficult to have a model which we so they are operating, right? So that's very important.
All right. So if I move on, you spoke about a lot about open APIs, and in that area particularly, we observe that several developments are happening across the globe on open data and open banking. What are your views on the role of Fintechs in open APIs, not just for banking but banking?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a huge emerging area. It's really tough. Are you able to hear what I say? It's very hard, right? Static is just way too much.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know whether we should keep plugging away or just take a pause here.
I don't know if it's just us or if others can hear us better.
Is there a way?
So I think the audience can hear us well. I think it's just disturbance between us. So I think we will just go on with this.
Okay. All right. Just let me know if it becomes too much. So I think the open API is definitely need of the hour. Is that being within the industry, what I can say, we're not really giving a great experience to our customers today. As I see, fintechs across the board, the ability to deliver on the promise, right? Upfront promise made in terms of, let's say, a pre-approved offer or a price, or if it's insurance, right? These products are so complex that when people struggle to understand it on their own in the digital medium without someone to kind of guide them. So it's a constant user experience challenge of how do you define the right balance of information, standardization, at the same time feature richness for the end consumer, so that they get a product which is appropriate for them, that they can understand, and when they apply for it, and in case of a loan, when they see the word approved, it really the money does get disbursed after all the checks and balances that follow post the approval step. And it is this space where open APIs can play a great role, where the flow of information is made simpler for consumers, right? Consumers have the ability to securely share the data in an easy way. Then it makes it so much more easier for all the ecosystem players to kind of do their plumbing, so that the customer journey is seamless. And I think a lot is being done in India in that direction. Like I mentioned, organizations like Samati. I think the ideas are great. They are definitely in the right direction. But I think we have not yet cracked the user experience challenge of it, especially in India, where the literacy levels vary quite a bit. Like you have read so many frauds taking place where someone gets a call, they give their OTP over the phone, and somebody uses the financial instrument of the customer. I think it's a few steps away from where we'll see a huge impact that the open APIs will make across the board. It's going to be a journey where we make customers much more comfortable by demonstrating responsible behavior or in the manner in which we use their data. Right? So if I, as a consumer, give you permission to use my data, you, I need to see the trusted share, right? So I need to make sure you're not, selling it out to third parties behind the scenes. And my data is all over the place. So I think not banking in almost every financial services space, an API has a role to play. Even in insurance, right? How do you make the entire experience, the marketplace that's done? Once somebody runs the code, provides information, generate a quote and they see various premium options. So the way you integrate each insurer is different. That makes it very painful for consumers to, provide all the information in one go and be done with it. Every insurer has their own way of issuing policies, their own way of processing claims. It's very hard to standardize experience to consumers. And given the nature of financial instruments, already people are struggling to understand of it. If it's not intuitive and easy and journey, it completely gets broken in the digital. And for a country of our size, to increase the initial insurance penetration or to offer credit to everyone, we have to go digital, right? If we were to build a physical network, we are never going to the entire country. So there is no two ways about it that has to be done through digital medium. But I think Fintechs has a big role to play, figure out how to bring together data, analytics, technology, and user experience and strike that right balance. And I think folks to figure that out first, they will be the next wave of econs.
No, I think that was very interesting. The balance between innovating and giving the customer the experience and driving that experience versus figuring out what is the liability, what are the challenges in terms of standardizing, what are some of the risks that open data poses. I think that balance is critical to really drive innovation. So I think great point. I think I'll move on to my next question to Mr. Jain. While digitization is going to increase exponentially, we're likely to see some trends in customer behavior, and customer behavior is already changing. What is going to be the new definition of customer delight and customer loyalty? Especially in your space.
If I heard you right, you meant what is going to be the new expectation in customer behavior and customer loyalty.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think the customer loyalty in a paperless and a formless world is a very difficult thing to judge. I think traditional financial organizations have seen this firsthand, not much in India, also in European kind of an environment. The banks have actually, challenge of financial services, the age-old financial services. In India, it's the other way around. The bigger the setup, they have actually been able to digitize faster and move towards that seamless experience, whether it's, HDFC Bank or SBI. All of them have built a much better digital experience than what other traditional banks have been able to do in the past. So I think the customer loyalty, it was an interesting survey that was done. Not much it happens in India, but globally, is that when there are two levels of financial services trust is a very important fact, and there are two levels of response that came globally. One was traditional banks, which had account holders who been in the bank for a very long period of time, continued to believe in the bank that they have. They want to bank. I'm sorry, I'm getting a really bad static. There's another set of people who were millennials, who were the new generation, and their loyalty was always towards company with perceived technological edge, whether it was to do with access to services, cost efficiency, and of course the technology. Right? So I think in the new world, the traditional organization have to jump the divide from just being traditionally strong in trust, but also to move towards an ability to be real-time available. And you see that happening. In our own group in Steel Bank, we have this YONO, which has now millions of customers, which is a carved-out bank in itself. Similarly, we see that in HDFC, we see that in other large organizations. And this is one of the ways to ensure the customer loyalty continues to be with that. Obviously, the experience is top of all of this. And customer experience, as Bhat said, will drive a lot on the way the ecosystem is going to develop. Whole API structure kind of levels everybody's actually access technology and all our set of things for excellence will actually customer experiences simply because now in India you have the UPI and tomorrow you will have the account aggregator platform. The way people should expect some institutions. I really don't know.
No, so I think absolutely relevant points. Millennials, I think the way millennials bank is very, very different from how general banking is. Their expectations are more linked to life goals rather than not financial services. That's not how we do it. So if I move on to Mr. Antony, my question to you is: cashless India could be a monster for the world. How do you think Fintechs can fight this next wave?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is: cashless India could be a model for the world. Cashless India. How do you think Fintechs can expedite this next wave?
Okay. See, of course, first of all, I don't believe cashless will be less cash because that's something which is the jury on when it become cash. But said that when we are heading towards in terms of the new fintech space, I would say, is that we have started to a lot to solution and also near. So what contactless you would see that if IoT and people are starting where you have now stores, Amazon as open stores where you can just change items, walk out, it's all the pay created with. So it's all IoT based tomorrow to throw you don't need when touch anything recognizing either metric or without taking a card or a mobile as you can sensor based solution. So a lot of solution is happening and India has this unique ability of providing scale, and that is, you will believe that some of these technologies to the work. India is the test ground, and of course, obviously, the most popular. So, the ones that are not also make sure that it. So, I think that we are a lot more of that in India. And like I mentioned, we need to see a conversion, the big tech moving is what I believe.
Sure. I think the innovation in a market like India is very different in terms of the scale and the huge opportunity it provides just from what can be really provided to the end customer. I move on to Mr. Bhat. My question to you is: what do you think are some of the forthcoming fintech trends that will hit the market in the next few years? What are those areas in the fintech spectrum that is going to change the way financial services operates in India?
Yeah, I think there's an oft debated and much written about topic where people tend to list all the latest technologies and find use cases to apply them for. Instead of doing crystal ball gazing at using those technologies, I will like the typical blockchain or AI or ML, right? I think we read a lot about that. Instead, I'll take a different take at it and extend it, do a more projection from where we are today. I think the fintech ecosystem is in a phase of maturity in the sense that after the first wave where, money was being spent focused on just getting volumes and getting eyeballs without clear sight of the economic model. I think the COVID kind of has forced a lot more discipline into the ecosystem. People have realized the need, kind of, for example, have a physical presence along with a digital leadership, right? So if you're in lending space and you can't collect your money, then it's very hard to have economic model. Similarly in the payment space, with any money being in transactions, and consumers shopping around PBs and reports, people began kind of re-question what is the right economic model. So I think the next wave in fintech is not so much about technology-led innovation, using the digital technologies to figure out the right business model. And I think that is where deeper partnerships will take place among the players along different parts of the value chain. Be a lot more bundling and kind of monetization of the customer traffic that each person is generating in their respective digital assets. And given that we've had a few years, in the industry, each of the fintechs is now sitting enough amount of click-tree data, really in place the promise of machine learning and predictive algorithms. Because 3 years back when the first started, while it was nice to talk about AI ML, currently very few had data infrastructure is to really build those models. I think in the last 3 years, more of the participants now have the infrastructure in place to really take real-time, interventions or, responsiveness to customer behavior. So I think that would be the kind of next phase where, based on an action you have taken, you'll truly see your app or the website kind of respond to you in real time, trying to predict what you're looking for. Right. So I think that promise has not been delivered. At least in India, I don't think it's really cracked in a significant way yet. So these are the kind of where I believe the next couple of years we will see a lot of action. Deeper partnerships with established players, use of can you still hear me? Yeah. But data and kind of moving into a truly real-time kind of paradigm, using analytics and kind of having a more omni-channel presence, digital plus physical. I think these are areas where will try to obtain in the next years to drive it a business model.
Sure, I think thank you for these insights. Some really interesting thoughts and definitely some common themes, new areas of innovation, customer delight, differentiated offerings, lots of opportunities. One last 30-second question to our panelists before we close. As an investor across the wide spectrum of fintech innovation, if you were to bet on one area, what would that be and why? I hope you got the question. As an investor,
did you say if you were to bet on one area, what
yes,
would that be?
What would that be?
I don't think there is one area I would like to bet. Maybe if I were to bet on something, I would bet on a platform. If I'm allowed to bet, which I'm not allowed to bet as my company doesn't allow me to make investments. But I would say investing in this new AAA platform is the whole platform will benefit from flow-based credit. The capability to build one view for customer. If companies can crack this and come with propositions which are, I would say, much more friendly, and there are lots of new use cases that will come on top of it. I think that would be a good place to invest because there are already 2,000 odd companies where they have a lot of investments already in the overall fintech space. Yeah, so that would be the place.
Mr. Antony?
Yeah, so I think also in your broad answer, I would say like in companies as not the big kind of space, facing the fintech consumer facing a lot of investment capital grow and it's actually the burn be high in the initial till the time you get the volume. But there I would more like a big SaaS model companies being large platforms, what Mr. said, and that is where I think that.
Thank you, Mr. Antony. Mr. Bhat?
Yeah, I'm very passionate about the intersection of user experience with analytics and technology. That's a passion. And I think that's an area where I would look for interesting plays because I think we have all sorts of technology available for quite some time now. Even the buzzwords AI, ML are actually 20 years old. But using them in the context of consumers' need effectively, I think, very few people have really cracked it, especially when it deals with complex products of financial services, right? How to simplify it, present it in a manner that customer can trust to consume it in a digital medium. And a lot of new user interfaces are coming up, right? Voice-based interactions, what we are having today, video-based interactions and bot-based interactions. So how do we kind of use that user interface, user experience in a smart way, assisted by technology and analytics? I think that's going to be a big area to watch out for.
Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for this lovely discussion. I know we managed to understand and hear each other despite all the days. I think we're really about this subject, truly. Thank you so much, and good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to thank all our panelists here on this session today. And I'm truly sorry technical difficulties that we ran in. But that reminds me of one of my friends from the Fintech ecosystem himself said once. I said that a lot of companies looking at creating apps or services for GSM phones rather than going for smartphones and 4G and 5G, where the actual need right now is to get the services that can hand over every single one of those people GSM phone. They should be able to own a 4G or 5G smartphone. And I think a long way to go in terms of technology, but we are already getting there ever closer each day. And I'm sure that whatever we are doing here will have a positive effect on the future of the fintech technology and technology as a whole.